student score as a class name, the attributes, possible methods. You guys all by now all know what methods are, right? So for example, you might have a method. You can add a method here that says get score, right? And that will return the score data type. So far, do you have any questions before we go on?
Why we use string for ID? Why don't we use long?
Such as what? Use what?
Long.
Oh, a long. That's a great question. And you can, okay? First question is you can. But I think one of the reasons why we use string, okay, is because it's actually a personal choice. But if it were me, I probably would use a string because you don't really do any arithmetic with ID. You don't add, you don't subtract, right? And normally, student ID has a fixed length. What is the ID length for a Juฬa student? 10, right? So if I want to check whether this is a valid ID or not, I can do the ID field dot length, and I would know the length of the ID, right? But if I wanted to check the ID as of type long, it's not so easy to check the length. I have to compare it with some known number that has that length, right? In other words, this is why maybe using a string might be better for ID. Does that make sense? You might think that picking the data type is trivial, right? Hey, it's a number, just use an int. But what I want to impart to you is also think about how you plan to use that data type. Okay? Any other questions? It might not be clear to you guys yet, okay? But I can tell you that a well-designed program is the one that considers how it's used. Okay? How it's used is very easy to say, but it's hard to realize. It's hard to apply it in real life. It's not only until you've messed up any possible way that you realize that, oh, I must design my program like this. Anyway, assuming that you have the student score class, you can use it like this, right? I hope by now you guys know that to access the attribute, right, each data member, you simply just do the variable dot something, right? And then you can just assign them. Now, before I go on from this point, I'd like to ask the students here that are still alive and remaining, what is the alternative way of instantiating the student's score? And the hint that I would like to help you guys with is constructor. The keyword is constructor. And the question is, what is the alternative way of initializing each object? Just try it. There are only 3 steps.
Public starting point string args for the score, and then calls up after the IE.
Would you like to come up here and write it down for me?
Oh, thank you.
Well, it doesn't really have anything to do with the public void main string args. The question is here. Maybe here. What are we doing on these lines? Let's just look at these 3 lines. What are we doing? First one is what? We just read this together. Student score data to new student score. What are we doing? If you were to describe this to your friend, what would you say? That's this line. Which method? Where's the method? Is that a method? What is the method? Are we creating a method? Good. Are we? No. What are we creating? Just this line. I'm asking you guys just this line, okay? What are we creating? Not method. What is the method? Do you remember the definition? Okay, here, let me give you an example. Class, box. Let's say that we have 1, 2 data types. With me so far? And I created double get area I'd like you guys to look at that just a bit. And we're going to play a little game. Okay? We're going to do matching. I'm sorry, I have to erase this, and I'm going to have to make it bigger and also a lot. Well, let's just say before we go on, do you have any questions on anything that I've written here? Questions? Okay. We're going to play a little game, okay? We're going to play a matching game. Have you ever played this game when you were younger? Like, there were a bunch of terms. Can you see? I hope you can. A, B, C. And then there would be like maybe pictures, you know? And then you have to do matching. You guys all play this game, right? Siliwat, you played? Okay. So my question to you is this. I'm going to be writing the terms, and I'd like you to help me to match the term with what we're actually referring to. What is get area? Attributes? What are attributes? How do you match attributes? Where? So we got this part. Attributes? Anyone? Huh? States. This one? Okay, I'm not going to say whether or not that's correct or not. But let's keep going. We have one more. What is this? This is how you define You see, this is how you say that, hey, box is a class. Just like how you say int k, it's declaring that, hey, k is an int, right? Same thing here. You're saying that box is a class. You with me? Next question. How do I know what's the return type? Where? This is the return keyword. But what about the return type? How do I know what the return type of the method is?
Because you state because it is an attribute.
Really?
You state
The return type will according to
Really? So you're saying that I cannot do this then? Do you remember? Okay, so where's the method? Where's the method? Get area. This whole thing is what we defined as a method, right?
Our return type should be number.
The return type is always declared before the method name. Is that clear? So the return type does not have to be the same as the attribute type. You with me? Now, was Grit right when he said that the attributes must be these two lines, two statements? He's right. These are called attributes. It has many names. Sometimes called attributes, sometimes called data, members. But essentially, it's the what the class has. This class, a box, has two attributes, x and y. And the type for those attributes are int, right? Because we declare them here. Class name, you guys know. Attributes now you know. You now recognize what a method is. You know what a return type is now. So now the question goes back here. This line, what are we doing? What are we doing on this line? The question is, are we declaring a method? This line. Five minutes ago, all of you said that we were declaring methods. Do you, with that example, do you agree with me now that we're not declaring methods? Who doesn't agree? Who agrees? You too? The other? You agree or you don't agree? So what are we doing here then? The keyword is new. Every time you see the keyword new, you should automatically think of a word that we've covered already. I've covered when you were here. New. What is new? What are we doing? No, this has nothing to do with array. What is new? Why do we new something?
to redefine the new to redefine and to build the new method.
No. You just said yourself that this is not creating a new method. What are we creating? What is, maybe take a step back. What is student score? Huh? No. What is student score here? It's not like scanner class because we've defined it somewhere else. It is a class. Student score is a class. It's not like buffered reader or it's not like scanner. It's not built in. Java did not provide you with a class named student score. So what are we doing then? Yes, well, the keyword I'd like you guys to all remember. Every time you see the word new, I want you to think of this word. Instantiate. You are creating a new object. Are we creating a new class? No. We're creating a new object. Do you remember? See, every time you see class and objects, I'd like you guys to always remember this diagram. Here's an example. Just remember this one. I mean, you were here. You should understand this by now. Student score is the class name. You instantiate two student scores, objects. This is an example of the instantiation. Two sample statements. With me? Now, coming back to here now, does this make more sense now? It's the same thing, except that the class name is different and the variable name is different. Who has question? Because I guarantee you, if you don't know this, the final exam will not be pretty. Right? I'm not trying to make the final exam harder than what you guys have to do.
So you have to write a separate class in student score first, and then write this class to use the student score.
Exactly. So to be able to use the student score, you have to first define the data type. Then you can use it. This is the same thing as in a car factory. You want to build a car. Without the blueprint, you cannot mass produce the car. With the blueprint, you can produce as many cars as you want. How do you produce that car? How do you manufacture the car? You always manufacture the cars with the keyword print or new. Does that make more sense now? So to get back to the original question, we are instantiating new student score objects, data 1, data 2. Okay? Who has a question? No? Then my next question is, what are we doing here? These two lines. What are we doing, these two lines?
Give the data to Chris.
What is this called? What is it called? Data members or attributes. We're setting attributes of data 2. We're setting its ID to be something. We're setting the score to be 17. Don't be surprised if you guys see your name on the final exams. You'll be my characters for the problems. Does this make sense now? Does this make sense now? You're setting the attributes. But you see, we could have also initialized all these two attributes inside the constructor as well. And I'm going to show you right now.